We are starting part 2 of our unit 3, which is all about linear functions. So we have different kinds of ways that we can represent a linear function. So everybody pay attention. Slope-intercept, that's the one that we've been talking about. It's the most famous equation in algebra. It is y equals mx plus b. I do want to write up here our linear parent function is the most basic linear function, and that is y equals x, or f of x equals x. It's just the most basic. This one's the one that has a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 0. Our slope-intercept form gives us ilm as our slope, b is our y-intercept. And it's easiest to graph if it's in our slope-intercept form, because you just need 2 steps, really. You just need to plot your y-intercept on the y-axis and then do your rise over run for your slope. Point slope is a new one. It's y minus y1 equals ilm x minus x1. So ilm is our slope again. And the reason it's called point slope is because the point comes from the x1, y1. x1, comma, y1. So remember how our bell ringer, our warm-up, we had graph the line that has a certain slope and goes through a certain point? You can graph it just by knowing the slope and the point, x1, y1. Standard form, this one's written wrong, it was a typo. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So it's rearranged so that x and y are on the same side. And our slope actually comes from negative a over b. Some of my students last year relied on this to graph. But in order to graph, you can also solve this for y by moving things around. So that's what we're going to focus on today. All right, so let's look at our examples. This again is our standard form. We did this a little when we solved for x. Instead of solving for x, we're solving for y. So standard to slope-intercept form. This is my standard form. So to put it in slope-intercept form, that's the y equals mx plus b. Put that right here. So if you have an equation or a question that says write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form is writing it like this. So we have some steps. So step 1 says add or subtract the ax value, then divide by the b value. And you always want to write it as y equals mx plus b. So we want to arrange it so it says y equals mx plus b. So just like we solved equations, draw your line down your equal sign. We want to get y by itself. So circle the y so that we remember what we're solving for. And it says step 1, add or subtract the ax. This is the ax. So go ahead and put ax, by, and c over the top of them. So we're going to subtract the ax. But what we know is we cannot combine unlike terms. These are unlike terms. So put over here, cannot combine. because one's an x and one is not an x. You cannot combine those when you're adding and subtracting. So this crosses out on the left, and you bring this down. It's negative 6y equals. Because I want it in the form of mx plus b, I'm going to put the x first. Put x before c, I guess. C is that negative 24. So you want it in that order. So it's negative 8x minus 24. So we did step 1, add or subtract the ax value. That was the negative 8x. Do that on both sides. Can't combine an x and a non-x. They're not like terms, so we're going to rewrite them. The reason this says negative 24 is because c is negative 24. Negative and minus are interchangeable. This is negative 8x, so make sure you have negative 8x. Step 2 says divide by the b value. The b value is a number in front of y. We're going to divide by negative 6. You have to divide everything by negative 6. So divided by negative 6, divided by negative 6. So these cancel and we get y equals. I want to reduce this negative 8 over 6. I can put that in the calculator. So get your calculator. We're going to reduce this fraction. If you don't have a calculator, go grab one right now. So to get to the fraction, it's alpha y equals negative 8 over 6. Because I just want to reduce it. Can you see that? Hopefully you did it. Negative 4 over 3? No. I didn't put negative 6 on there. I messed up. So I need to put negative 6 on the denominator. It's positive 4 over 3 because negative over negative is positive. So I put negative 8 over negative 6. Remember, alpha y equals to get that fraction. So it's 4 over 3 x, and then do the other one. Alpha y equals negative 24 over negative 6. Negative 24 over negative 6 is a positive 4. So I no longer put minus because this, whenever I simplified it with the two negatives, I got a positive 4. So once we move it from standard to slope intercept, you can see your slope is 4 over 3. Your y-intercept is 4. Go ahead and write. M is this, B is this. Okay, let's do example 3. I'm skipping example 2. This is point slope form because it's written as y minus some number equals x minus some number. This is my slope. Is my slope. So go ahead and write that out to the side. Equals 4. The coordinate, this is y1 and this is x1. I'm not going to make you write that down, but I just want you to know that. All right, draw your line down to your equal sign. We're just solving for y. So we need to simplify and then move the number that's near y because we want to get y by itself. So circle y. So first thing we need to do is distribute. So I'm going to put that here, distribute. Step 1, distribute. We're distributing the 4. So 4 times x and 4 times a negative 2. We're just going to carry down what's on the left side. Y minus 3 equals 4 times x is 4x. 4 times a negative 2, negative 8. Okay, we still want to get y by itself. So we're going to circle y to remind us we're getting y by itself. So what's keeping y from being by itself? -3. So how do I get rid of it? +3. Where do I put the +3? Do I put it under the 4x or the -8? Yeah, I got to put it under the like term. So now it's just y equals, carry down the 4x, and then we have -8 plus 3. Put it in the calculator if you need to. -8 plus 3. -5. So, put a box around your answer. What is the slope? 4. Yep. And isn't that what we set up here? Because it was the one that is outside the parentheses in that point slope form. And then what's the b? -5. Okay. Okay, I want y'all to do example 2 and 4 now, and then you can check your answer with me. Okay, hopefully you've had enough time to do it. I'm going to go ahead and go over it so that you can make sure that you have it correct. So we want to get y by itself. So that means we're going to subtract the 11x. Keep x with it. You can't take 11 without taking x. We're going to write it down here. But remember what we said up here? We cannot combine them. We're going to keep them separated. So those cross out, including the x. Now bring down 4y. Keep them separated. A -11x plus 10. And then our last step to get y by itself, divide everything by 4. So those cancel and we get y equals. Usually slope you want to leave it as a fraction, but you can change it to a decimal. But fractions are easier to do rise over run. So -11 over 4, if you wanted to put that in to make sure it was reduced, you would do that. And it's still the same thing. And then do the 10 over 4. Just 5 over 2. But if you want it as decimals, because sometimes answers are written with decimals, you can just divide it. Like I did -11 divided by 4. So this is y equals -2.75x. And then 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. This one would not be fun to graph because your y-intercept is a decimal. It's still doable, just not great. So m is -11 over 4. B is 2.5. Or 5 over 2. Okay, example 4. I'm going to go ahead and show you that one. And so you can check your work. And I'll explain it. Here's our final answer though. Y equals -3x minus 9. First thing you do is distribute. Whenever I was walking around, I saw that a lot of people forgot to multiply -3 times a +1, which gives you a -3. So then whenever you move things around, it's y equals -3x minus 9. And that's your slope, and that's your y-intercept. Now you have an assignment to complete. Glue this in on the next page.